Ever noticed how the most anticipated events often leave you feeling underwhelmed? That's the happiness paradox in action. What if I told you that lowering your expectations isn't pessimism, it's actually the secret path to genuine joy? Imagine achieving everything you've ever wanted. The dream home, perfect job, ideal relationship. Would you finally be happy? Throughout history, we've made incredible progress. Medicine has doubled our lifespans. Technology has connected the world. Wealth has increased dramatically. Yet studies show happiness levels have barely budged. Why? Because as philosopher Montesquieu observed 275 years ago, we wish to be happier than other people, and this is always difficult, for we believe others to be happier than they are. This is hedonic adaptation, our remarkable ability to quickly normalize improvements. Remember the excitement of your last smartphone? How long did that thrill last before it became just your phone? This constant adaptation is hardwired into us. The goalposts of satisfaction keep moving just as we approach them. Consider the Rockefeller paradox. John D. Rockefeller, once the world's richest man, never had antibiotics, air conditioning, or instant communication. By objective measures, many middle-class people today enjoy conveniences beyond his imagination. Yet we don't feel richer than Rockefeller. Why? Because as Charlie Munger noted, the world isn't driven by greed, it's driven by envy. We measure ourselves not against history, but against our neighbors. The happiness paradox reveals a profound truth. Our joy depends less on what we have and more on what we expect to have. Have you ever felt that rush of joy from a pay raise, only to have it deflate when you learned your colleague got more? That's the comparison trap in action. Our brains didn't evolve to make us happy. They evolved to help us survive and reproduce. And in our ancestral environment, social status wasn't just about ego, it determined access to resources and mates. We're hardwired to gauge our success relative to others, not by absolute measures. The neuroscience is clear. Comparison activates the same reward circuits as food and sex. Today, we live in what could be called an envy economy. Marketing doesn't just sell products, it sells the promise of status and happiness. Social media has supercharged this effect. Every scroll through Instagram presents a carefully curated highlight reel of other people's lives, distorting our perception of what's normal. These platforms aren't designed to make us content, they profit from our discontent. The philosopher Montesquieu observed this human tendency nearly 275 years ago when he wrote, "We wish to be happier than other people, and this is always difficult, for we believe others to be happier than they are." Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's partner, put it more bluntly. The world isn't driven by greed, it's driven by envy. This comparison trap has been with us throughout human history, but understanding it gives us the first key to escaping it. Real happiness doesn't come from winning the comparison game, it comes from choosing not to play. Welcome to the art of recalibrating expectations, perhaps the most powerful tool in your happiness arsenal. Let's start with strategic underestimation. Research shows travelers who expect average experiences typically report higher satisfaction than those with lofty expectations. Why? When reality exceeds our modest expectations, we experience genuine delight. This isn't pessimism, it's happiness engineering. By slightly underestimating outcomes, we create space for joy to surprise us. Next, consider gratitude as expectation management. Our brains are wired to adapt to improvements quickly, making yesterday's luxuries today's necessities. Studies show people who maintain gratitude journals report 25% higher happiness levels. This happens because gratitude practices literally rewire neural pathways, training our attention on what we have rather than what we lack. As Rockefeller's example reminds us, even immense wealth doesn't guarantee happiness when we're constantly comparing upward. Finally, embrace what psychologist Barry Schwartz calls the satisficer mindset. His research reveals that people who accept good enough choices report greater satisfaction than maximizers who endlessly seek the perfect option. Maximizers get trapped in choice paralysis and post-decision regret. Remember, as Charlie Munger noted, envy drives much of our dissatisfaction. When we stop moving our happiness goalposts with every achievement, we create space for genuine contentment. Welcome to Section 4, Mastering the Expectation Gap. Let's explore an elegant truth about happiness that's often overlooked. Imagine a simple equation: reality minus expectations equals happiness. This formula reveals something powerful. You can increase happiness in two ways: improve your reality or lower your expectations. And while society pushes us to constantly elevate our circumstances, managing expectations often yields greater results with less effort. When expectations outpace reality, disappointment follows. When reality exceeds expectations, joy emerges. The comparison trap is perhaps our greatest obstacle to contentment. As Charlie Munger noted, we're driven not by greed, but by envy. Yet we can practice selective comparison, deliberately choosing beneficial reference points. When faced with hardship, consider historical living conditions. Someone from just a century ago would view your basic amenities as unimaginable luxuries. This perspective reset doesn't diminish ambition, but enhances gratitude. Finally, develop what psychologists call realistic optimism. Olympic athletes exemplify this balance. They visualize success while acknowledging obstacles. They maintain positive expectations while preparing for challenges. This approach combines hopeful thinking with pragmatism, creating resilience when facing setbacks. By mastering the expectation gap, you transform the happiness paradox into a practical tool for greater joy in everyday life. Welcome to the art of being happier by expecting less. So much of our suffering comes from constantly moving goalposts. Let's change that. First, establish your personal enough metrics. What constitutes enough money for your needs? What level of achievement feels sufficient? What relationships fulfill you? Rather than chasing infinite growth, define clear finish lines that honor your true values, not society's expectations. This creates freedom when you can say, "This is enough for me." Next, practice deliberate expectation containment in daily life. Try the 10% rule. Always assume things will take 10% longer and cost 10% more than anticipated. When planning your day, schedule buffer time. When budgeting, add cushion. This simple adjustment prevents the constant disappointment of unmet expectations, transforming potential frustration into pleasant surprise when things go smoothly. Finally, train yourself to find joy in ordinary moments through present-focused attention. The Japanese concept of wabi-sabi celebrates the beauty in imperfection and transience. That morning coffee, the evening sunset, a moment of connection. These become sources of profound satisfaction when we stop comparing them to some imagined perfect alternative. By lowering expectations without lowering standards, we create space for genuine happiness to flourish in the life we already have. Embrace the paradox. By expecting less, you'll discover more joy in life's simple moments. Your happiness isn't found in perfection, but in appreciating what already exists. How have your expectations shaped your happiness? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe to RockVein for more insights that transform your perspective. Hit the notification bell to join our journey toward authentic joy.